feeling good?
Yes.
You feeling me?
Very good.
All right, let's get it on.
Yes.
We've got crime down to numbers like no one's ever seen, but there are still too many fatties.
Chicka, 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 chicka.
It's a work in progress.
Hummin' coming at ya, and you know I had to get ya. It's the Work in Progress podcast. I'm Michael D. Catherwood, your host. How are ya? In honor of my new book, The Flex and the City Training Manual, tailored specifically for you ladies out there. Oh yeah, this one's for the ladies. I'm going to talk to you about the biggest mistakes and the biggest myths that exist in health and fitness for you women. Number one, beyond a shadow of a doubt, with a bullet, if you lift heavy weights, you are going to become bulky. Oh my God. Lighter weights and higher reps and cardio, that's going to sculpt your body, right? But big weights, that makes you big and bulky. Insane. That's an insane thing to think, and I get why you would think that. What you need to understand is people who want to be bulky and lift heavy weights, it takes them years and years and years, decades sometimes. A lot of people don't even get bulky. They want to be, a lot of guys want to be pro bodybuilders. And they lift heavy and they lift heavy and they lift heavy and they eat and they eat and they eat and they still just don't have what it takes. To get bulky, to get what you think of as bulky when you see a pro bodybuilder or a strongman or a power lifter, takes decades of stuffing your stinking face with food. That is what makes you bigger. Let's cut the bullshit. Calories make your body bigger and smaller. That's it. Not weights, not weight training, not different types of cardio, not low carb, not high carb, not low fat, not high fat. Calories. Calories are what dictates the size of your body. Not open for debate. That is science and that is irrefutable. If you eat in a caloric deficit, you are going to lose weight, you will become smaller. If you eat in a caloric excess or a caloric surplus, you are going to grow bigger. Now, if you eat in a caloric surplus and you pump a lot of iron and you get a lot of good sleep and you make sure to take certain anabolic steroids and androgenic compounds, you will grow bigger and be muscular. If you don't do any of that aforementioned stuff and you just eat more calories, you will become fat. If you eat in a caloric deficit and you do a very well-controlled, well-monitored diet while you're training, you will lose body fat and maintain some muscle mass and probably have a nice looking body. If you just eat in a caloric deficit endlessly and don't do any of that stuff and just probably do a lot of cardio, you will just lose a lot of weight, mostly water and muscle mass and a little bit of fat, and you'll just become a softer, mushier, smaller version of yourself. Now, granted, you will become smaller. The person who eats in a caloric surplus will become bigger. None of those things have to do with heavy weights. What you're avoiding doing by lifting heavy weights and doing your bar class and doing your cardio class and doing your Pilates and doing your CrossFit and doing that is you are spinning your wheels and you are making yourself very, very fatigued. They are very, very good at tiring you out, but they are not hoping to achieve what you want to achieve. I think most of you ladies want a lean physique. You want a athletic, a curvy, a very appealing female physique. To jog 10 miles and to do yoga in order to get a toned and curvy and appealing physique is like playing lots of basketball so that you can become a better boxer. You need to engage in mechanical tension that comes from very, very high effort of resistance training. That's it. That is what maintains muscle mass and gives you an appearance of someone who has a good body. You couple that with a diet that removes body fat. That doesn't happen overnight, okay? Now, this is not a very scientific way of looking at it, ladies, but it doesn't make it any less true. Running a marathon is an amazing achievement. It's an amazing achievement. And I give a huge amount of respect to anyone who's able to do it. But stand at the finish line of any marathon and see how many beautiful bodies go by. You may not see a lot of fat people, probably very few, but you're not going to see a lot of bodies. You're not going to be a lot of dudes, not going to be a lot of lesbians going, oh my God, look at that chick. Whoa, whoa, holy mackerel. You're going to see not fat people. That's true. The reality is, is that the composition of your body, the appearance, the aesthetics is really dictated by how much muscle mass you carry. Most women do not want to carry an exorbitant amount of muscle mass, but don't worry, that is almost impossible to do. You have to use a tremendous amount of drugs, be incredibly genetically gifted, and devote pretty much your entire life to doing it. Take it from me. I'm 175 pounds at 5'10", okay? And I pump crazy iron. I wanted to, when I was 19, 20 years old, wanted to be a big, powerful bodybuilder. I wanted to be like a vulgar buff person. And I ate and I ate and I used steroids and I did a lot of steroids and I worked out like crazy and I did everything I could. And I got up to about 205 pounds after years of doing it. And now I eat a very, very controlled, very good diet. I'm devoted to kind of musculature and strength and all that stuff. And I just monitor my food and I pump iron a lot and everything. And I'm 175 pounds. I'm probably a lot lighter and a lot less bulky than most dudes out there. To be bulky, to be obscene, to have disproportionate body measurements because of, overwhelming musculature and what you guys look at as bulk takes an exorbitant amount of prolonged effort to do so, which includes lots of calories on purpose and typically, more often than not, androgenic and anabolic compounds. By virtue of picking up a barbell, you are not going to turn into Bill Kazmaier in his prime. You're not going to look like Brock Lesnar from bench pressing a couple times, okay? And this idea that, well, if I mix my cardio, if I do a circuit class, if I do a F45, I do this, mixing your conditioning with your strength training makes you perpetually mediocre at both. Focus on your diet. Make sure you're getting an ample amount of protein, probably more than you're eating right now. Be in a slight caloric deficit and pump iron and get nasty in the gym and do it for a long time. And that is how you're going to have the body of all the girls that your boyfriends and your husbands are addicted to looking at online. Okay, it doesn't come from all this other nonsense that you insist on doing. This is one thing that you ladies definitely got to get through your head. And you women have a harder time understanding this typically than guys do. Guys will get this through their head because they grow up watching sports or they grow up getting stuffed in a locker by some other guy. But genetics play a much larger role than you think they do. What am I talking about? It's not just a matter of like, oh, some people are tall, some people are short, blah, blah, blah. No, most of the women that you look at their bodies and you go like, I wish I could look like that. I will do her training program. I will follow her diet. Most of those women came out of the womb looking like that. And they probably eat junk food and they probably don't train very hard. They're genetic freaks. They were touched by God. They were put on this earth to be thin and tall and muscular and lean and beautiful. That's just reality. And I'm not telling you that to discourage you. I'm telling you that so you don't feel like an idiot. So you don't spin your wheels. You look at the Victoria's Secret models and you think like, well, if I do their diet, if I do their training, I know that they juice and they do Pilates and I'm going to look like Alessandra Ambrosi in her prime. No, you're fucking not, because you have to have Alessandra Ambrosia's parents give birth to you. That's reality. And a lot of people in the fitness industry, especially dudes, they don't have this understanding. I backed into this, so I can tell you firsthand. And I've talked to these ladies and made sure that I could talk about this openly. They're cool with it. About 2005-ish, I'm guessing, Carmen Electra came into the Kevin and Bean show, who I was working for. And you got to understand, I graduated high school in 1997. I was born in 1979. So Carmen Electra was everything to, I exhausted so many masturbatory hours to Carmen Electra, more so than anyone ever. Okay, except for maybe Leanne Tweeden, which made it really uncomfortable for me to do radio with Leanne. I'd be sitting across from her like, this is really awkward. And her husband's so cool. And it was like a high level veteran. And I was like, man, I feel awful about this. That's beside the point. Carmen Electra was my everything. I was so in love with her. And so when she came into the Kevin and Bean show, I had to make sure. that I went in, I introduced myself. I did not have these crazy ideas like she's going to fall in love with me. No. I wanted to, and I wanted to say like, oh God, I'm such a huge fan. I just think you're the most beautiful girl in the world, blah, blah, blah. And I did. And she was really, really nice. Really nice. She came in to promote Starsky and Hutch. And in the time I'm talking to her and editing some tape to go in for the next bit before she goes on, and I'm looking, she has 2 bagels and cream cheese. 2 regular bagels with cream cheese on them. And it's, by the way, it's like 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. And she has 2 sodas, not diet soda, 2 Cokes. And I go, hey, is that how you eat? She goes, all day, every day. I'm just, that's just always how I've eaten. And I never work out. I was a dancer. I grew up, but I don't like work out. It's just like, okay. Well, that's how God made you, huh? Yeah, it is. Julianne Hough. When I was doing Dancing with the Stars, Julianne Hough was not on my season. Her brother Derek was. Derek's a very cool guy. I like Derek very much. Julianne turns out to be a very nice person, but I didn't know her because she wasn't on my season. But she came to do like this guest dancing thing, right? So she was rehearsing at the same rehearsal studio that I was rehearsing at. I'm at Whole Foods in Venice Beach, which is where I live. I'm in Venice. I'm rehearsing in this like Hollywood area. I'm at Venice. I'm at the grocery store. I'm buying food and I'm waiting in line and I see Julianne Hough on the cover of Shape magazine, which is like a women's health magazine, right? And it says Julianne's Get Ready for Summer Diet. And she's on in a sports bra and she looks amazing. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful physique, beautiful everything. She's beautiful. I'm like, bro, look at that. Go into her, drive from there to rehearsal. She's there. And I'm kind of like eyeballing her and Derek. And I'm playing ping pong with her brother Derek. He's whooping my ass. And I'm looking over and she's just shoveling fucking candy in her mouth. There was like a bowl of candy in the like green room, the waiting room area. And she's eating like 1 piece, 2 piece, 4 piece, 5 piece. And I'm like playing ping pong. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I go, you like that? She's like all day, every day. And Derek goes, that's her diet. I go, what about Shape magazine? She's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know. They didn't talk to me. I don't know who they talked to make that get ready for summer diet. She said, this is what I eat. I was blown away. And so I'm just telling you, heavy weights are not going to make you bulky. The longer you wait to not lift weights and lift weights properly and really push yourself, the longer you're going to wait to have the body you want. Genetics play a huge role. Don't get fucking discouraged and don't start spinning your wheels because you don't look like this chick that you see on a movie screen or in a magazine or online, because most likely she's got 11 filters and 17 different distorting effects on her, and she came out of the womb as a size 0 with huge cans. Genetics play a huge role. Okay? And I say that to you to motivate you, not to discourage you. And last and the final thing, do not fear protein, because most women are so undernourished when it comes to protein. It is the most effective metabolic tool you can have, certainly out of the 3 macronutrients, being fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Okay? None of them are bad. None of them are wrong. But the one that you guys seem to ignore the most is protein, and it is the most important without question. Without question. Fat and carbohydrates are simply energy, different forms of energy. Think of it like a hybrid car. Okay? There's an electric component and there's a gas component, a petroleum component. And when you're slamming on the pedal, it probably goes to gas. And when you're going long hauls, it can relax and go in the lower gears and use the electricity. Maybe it's opposite. I don't know. But either way, at different RPMs, it's using different fuel sources. That's exactly how your body works. When you are walking long distances, or you're hiking, or you're going to pick up the kids from school, or you're doing house chores, you are mostly running on dietary fat. Okay? That is inside your body. When you are sprinting, when you are lifting heavy weights, when you are doing something really exhausting, really high level, what is anaerobic, when you're doing it without the ability to breathe easily, that is when you're most likely tapping into your carbohydrate stores, your glycogen. Okay? They are energy sources. There is some other kind of biological processes that can happen, some chemical but by and large, they are energy sources. Protein is repairing your body, feeding your body, and from head to toe, all the different cells in your body, they really work off of protein. Okay. So if these are the different energy sources, the carbohydrates and the fat, the protein, that is your mechanic, that is your car wash, that is everything else. And that is the really good driver and chauffeur that's making sure that the car is working and functioning properly day in and day out. And you need to be eating more protein. I recommend in my book, A Meathead's Guide to Salvation, 0.8 grams per pound of overall body weight. It's very, very easy to overeat carbs and fat because they get yummy. It's really hard to overeat when you're eating mostly protein. There's a higher thermic effect of food to protein in comparison to carbohydrates and fat. What does that mean? It means by simply putting it in your mouth and digesting it, you burn a little bit more calories. It doesn't mean that it's a lot, but it is something. It does make a difference, okay? Not only that, but the process of digestion that it takes to create that higher thermic effect of food with protein makes it a little bit more taxing on your body, not taxing in a bad way, but a little bit more stressful for the digestive system, which means there is a little bit more sense of fullness or satiety. If you're stuffing your face with protein and you prioritize it, you eat it first in your meals and you're making sure you're getting a lot, it's just so much freaking harder to overeat. It really is. On top of that, you're going to make sure that you are protecting those muscle cells while you are in that caloric deficit to hopefully get that lean muscular physique that you're looking for, that shapely athletic physique. You are going to be in a caloric deficit. One of the first things they recommend, if anybody who's anybody is prescribing you a GLP-1 agonist like Ozempic, the first thing they'll say is make sure you resistance train and make sure you up your protein, because you don't want to fall into that trap of just getting thinner and becoming a softer version of yourself. It's kind of an advanced and an enhanced process when you're talking about the GLP-1 agonist, but just in regular everyday life, one of the safeguards you can do when you're losing weight to make sure that you're losing fat and not muscle cells and not water is to up that protein to make sure that you have the amino acids available in your system to protect your muscle cells. Okay. So make sure you pump iron. Don't be afraid of lifting heavy weights, ladies. In fact, it is your salvation. And remember, the women that you admire, you look up to, the ones that you want to look like, they probably were genetically gifted and they might even be using drugs too. So don't get discouraged, because you can have what you want and you don't need to look at these ladies who are not, they're not realistic to put yourself in the same perspective as. They came out of the womb gifted and to look amazing. And even if they didn't work out and they ate junk food, they probably still look amazing. That sucks. I hate to admit it, but the same thing goes for dudes. I have friends of mine and they make me so mad. My friend Mike Bouchard, he's a great human being, but he subsides on booze and Carl's Jr. and he has a fucking six pack. And he's my age. He's in his 40s now and he's still shredded. And I go, God damn you. Some dudes are like that. Some ladies are like that. That's the reality. Also, a lot of the ones you're looking at now are so filtered and they have so many effects, making sure that all their hips come and dip in a little bit more, their booties perk out a little bit more. Okay. So don't get discouraged. Don't let them mind fuck you. Don't do that. Finally, up your protein. Get down to business in the gym, get down to business in the kitchen. Up the protein, lift heavy weights, and don't get discouraged by all these false images that you're seeing by these overly manipulated, effect-driven, filter-driven genetic freaks. All right? I love you. My book for you ladies, Flex in the City, available everywhere I put stuff out, in my profile, right here, on my socials, everywhere. You can check it out at the Meathead headquarters, Meathead HQ. It's my Shopify store. It has all my books. It has the Flex in the City training manual for you ladies. It has A Meathead's Guide to Salvation, which is the best diet book for you men and you women, for you people old and you people young. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just that damn good. All right. I love you. In this crazy mixed up world that makes you think that nobody cares, remember, I do. Be good.